The fourth car I recovered on the night of September 14th had been reported stolen 11 months earlier. That's not unusual. What's unusual is that I'd recovered the same car, same plates, same VIN, same dent in the rear quarter panel, 6 hours before. From a different location. With a different driver. Both drivers had valid registration. Both had keys. Both had the vehicle's title in their glove box. One of them is still in my impound lot. The other one isn't. I need to explain what my job actually looks like, because what follows won't make sense without it. My name is Alejandro Medina. I operate a contracted highway recovery service out of the greater São Paulo metropolitan region in Brazil. Not the city center, the orbital highways. The Rodoanel, the Anchieta immigrant system, the Bandeirantes interchange corridor. If you've never driven these roads, picture 6 to 8 lanes of freight and commuter traffic compressed between sound walls and elevated ramps, running 24 hours through a metropolitan area of 22 million people. I'm not a roadside assistance guy who jumps batteries. I'm a heavy recovery operator, Class 3 rotator, authorized for articulated vehicles, multi-lane incident clearance, and judicial seizure tows under contract with the DER and the PRF. My company, Medina Guincho, runs 4 trucks across a 60-kilometer operational corridor. I've been doing this for 14 years. The work is physical, technical, and overwhelmingly routine. 90% of calls are breakdowns, accidents, or abandoned vehicles flagged by highway cameras. The dispatching system, called SIOR, the Sistema Integrado de Operações Rodoviárias, feeds us call tickets electronically. Every recovery is logged, timestamp, GPS origin, vehicle identification, operator assignment, destination facility, and closure code. I mention this because the system is airtight. There's no ambiguity in a SIOR ticket. It tells you where the vehicle is, what it is, and where to bring it. The vehicle either exists at the coordinates or it doesn't. You either complete the recovery or you mark it as a dry run. For 14 years, every ticket I received described something that was real. The first time something didn't fit was in March of last year. A routine mechanical breakdown call on the Anchieta descending lanes near kilometer marker 42. Sedan, silver, hazard lights active, driver waiting. Standard. I arrived at the coordinates and found the car exactly as described. A 2019 Chevrolet Onix, silver, parked on the shoulder with its hazards blinking. A woman was standing beside it. 40s, business clothes, visibly frustrated but not distressed. She said the engine had died without warning. I asked for her documents, license, registration, proof of insurance. Everything was in order. I winched the vehicle, transported it to the authorized yard at Cubateo, and closed the ticket. SIOR logged the recovery at 14:47. Vehicle released to the owner's designated mechanic the following morning. Done. Forgotten. 3 weeks later, I got another ticket. Same stretch of highway. Same kilometer marker, 42.3, to be exact. Same vehicle description. Silver Onix. When I arrived, it was the same car. Same plates. Same registration sticker in the windshield. Same dent, a small crescent shape on the rear passenger door that I'd noticed the first time because it looked like someone had backed into a bollard. Different driver. A man this time. Mid-50s, polo shirt, calm. Same complaint, engine died without warning. I ran the plates through my mobile terminal. The registration came back valid. Owner, Marcos Antonio da Silva. Address in Santos. The first recovery, the woman, had been registered to Luciana Ferreira Gomez. Address in São Vicente. Same car. Same plates. Different registered owners in the SIOR system, 3 weeks apart. I noted the discrepancy in my recovery log and filed it. These things happen. Cloned plates are common in São Paulo. Stolen vehicles with forged documents circulate for months. I assumed it was a coincidence, 2 different vehicles sharing a cloned plate, both happening to break down on the same stretch of road. That's what I assumed. 2 months later, I was working an overnight rotation. 1:30 a.m. call on the Rodoanel Western segment. Abandoned vehicle, no driver present. Highway Patrol had flagged it via CCTV after it sat motionless in the deceleration lane for over 90 minutes. I arrived and found a white Fiat Strada pickup. No lights, no occupant. Doors locked. I used the Slim Jim to access the cabin and check for the vehicle documents before winching. Registration in the glove box, valid. Owner listed as Ricardo Pinto de Souza. I ran the plates. Clean. No theft report. No outstanding warrants. No judicial holds. I towed it to the compound and filed the ticket. The next morning, I was reviewing the previous night's logs, something I do routinely to ensure the SIOR entries match my own paperwork, and I noticed the vehicle had already been in the system. Same plates. Same VIN. Recovered 14 months earlier by my colleague Davi, from kilometer 38 on the same highway segment. Owner at that time, Fabiana Costa Mendez. Different name. Different registered owner. Same physical vehicle. I pulled Davi's original recovery report. The photos he'd attached showed a white Fiat Strada with a cracked taillight lens on the left side and an aftermarket roof rack. I walked out to the impound yard and looked at the truck I'd brought in the night before. Cracked left taillight. Aftermarket roof rack. I photographed both and compared them to Davi's images from 14 months prior. Identical. Not similar, identical. The same crack pattern. The same rack mounting hardware. The same faded bumper sticker for a surfing school in Guarujá, partially peeled at the upper right corner. The vehicle Davi had recovered 14 months ago had been released to its registered owner, Fabiana Costa Mendez, 2 days after recovery. It had left our yard. It was gone. And now it was back. Under a different name. I brought this to my operations manager, Enrique. He's been in the recovery business longer than I have, 22 years, and his response was immediate and practical. Cloned VIN, he said. Someone copied the chassis stamp and the plate. It happens. The crack in the taillight is the same. Then it's the same vehicle with a forged transfer. Someone bought it dirty and re-registered it under a fake name. Twice. With completely clean documents both times. Enrique shrugged. Welcome to São Paulo. He wasn't wrong. Vehicle fraud is endemic here. I've towed cars with 3 different VIN plates welded on top of each other. I've recovered motorcycles that were reported stolen while the person riding them held a valid registration in their own name. The system has gaps. But I couldn't let it go. Because it wasn't just the documents that matched. It was the location. Same highway. Same segment. Same general kilometer range. Over the next 4 months, I started keeping a parallel log. Every vehicle I recovered from the Roto-NL Western segment and the Ankita descent between KM38 and KM48, I cross-referenced against Sire's historical database. The system allows lookups by plate number and VIN. It archives every ticket going back 12 years. By August, I had identified 9 vehicles that appeared in the system more than once, recovered from the same corridor, months or years apart, with different registered owners but physically identical features. 9 vehicles. The intervals varied. The shortest gap between recoveries was 3 weeks, the silver onyx. The longest was 4 years and 7 months, a black VW GOL that had been towed from KM 41.6 in 2019 and again from KM 43.2 in 2024, both times for apparent mechanical failure, both times with a driver present, both times with clean documents under different names. Both times with the same street Christopher medal hanging from the rearview mirror and the same cigarette burn on the passenger seat. I want to be precise about what I'm describing, because the obvious explanation, vehicle cloning, doesn't actually hold. When a vehicle is cloned in Brazil, the clone is a different physical car. Someone takes the plates and VIN from a legitimate vehicle and applies them to a stolen one of similar make and model. The two vehicles exist simultaneously. The original owner keeps driving their car. The clone circulates separately. That's not what this was. In every case I identified, SIOR showed the vehicle being released after the first recovery. Released to a registered owner who provided valid documents, paid any applicable fees, and drove the vehicle out of the yard. Then, months or years later, the same physical vehicle, not a clone, but the same object with the same wear patterns, the same damage, the same personal items, appeared again on the same highway segment. Under a different name. As if the first owner had never existed. And when I searched for the first owners, Luciana Ferreira Gomez. The woman with the silver onyx. No current address on file. No driver's license renewal after 2023. No vehicle registered in her name anywhere in the state system. Fabiana Costa Mendez. The white Strata. Same. Last verifiable record, the day she picked up her vehicle from my impound yard. I checked all 9 first recovery owners. 7 of them had no records more recent than the date of their vehicle's release. I sat with that for a long time. 7 people who claimed their cars from my yard and then, as far as any state database could tell, stopped existing. Their vehicles continued. Reappeared. Under new names. In the same corridor. The vehicles persisted. The people didn't. September 14th. The night I mentioned at the beginning. 22:15, SIOR ticket. Abandoned vehicle, Roto-NL KM 44.7 westbound. Dark blue Renault Sandero. No driver present. Highway patrol flagged via CCTV. I drove out and recovered it. Standard operation. Vehicle locked, no occupant. I accessed the cabin, photographed the documents, winched it onto the bed, and transported it to the yard. Logged everything. Ticket closed at 23:08. Registration, Carlos Eduardo Martins. Address in Osasco. 4:22 a.m., second ticket. Same shift. Abandoned vehicle. Roto-NL KM 46.1 westbound. Dark blue Renault Sandero. I sat in my cab for a full minute before I started the engine. I drove to the coordinates. The car was there. Same plates. I could read them from 50 meters away in my headlights. Same plates as the vehicle currently sitting in my impound yard. I parked behind it, activated my light bar, and approached on foot. The car was locked. Identical blue Sandero. Same year, same trim level. I looked through the driver's window with my flashlight. Same gray fabric seat covers. Same air freshener, a cardboard tree, faded green, hanging from the mirror. Same stack of parking receipts jammed in the center console cup holder. I ran the plates through my mobile terminal. Registration, Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos. Address in Barueri. Different name. Same vehicle. 6 hours apart. I towed it. I don't know why. Procedure, I suppose. The ticket existed. The vehicle was there. I'm a recovery operator. I recover vehicles. I brought it to the yard and parked it in Bay 7. Then I walked to Bay 3, where I'd left the first Sandero 5 hours earlier. Bay 3 was empty. The log said the vehicle had been released at 2:40 a.m. Released to owner, Carlos Eduardo Martins. Authorization code generated by the overnight yard attendant, Paulo. I called Paulo. The blue Sandero in Bay 3, I said. You released it? Yeah, guy came with his documents around 2:30. Everything checked out. I processed the release. Did you see him drive it out? Of course. He pulled out the east gate. Normal. Paulo. I recovered that car at 10:15 tonight. I know. I saw your ticket. And then I recovered the same car, same plates, same everything, at 4:20 this morning. From a different location. It's in Bay 7 right now. Silence. That doesn't make sense, Paulo said. I know. You're telling me the car I released 3 hours ago is back in the yard? I'm telling you a car with the same plates and same physical characteristics is in Bay 7. The car you released is gone. Someone named Carlos drove it out your gate. And the one in Bay 7. Registered to someone else. Paulo was quiet for a while. So it's a clone. It's not a clone, Paulo. It's the same car. Same seat covers. Same air freshener. Same parking receipts. Then I don't know what to tell you, Alejandro. I didn't sleep that day. I sat at my desk in the office and pulled every historical record I could access. The blue Sandero, that specific plate number, appeared in SIOR once before. Recovered from KM 43.9, 9 months earlier. By Davi again. Registered owner at that time, Marcos Rogerio Alves. Marcos Rogerio Alves. Last verifiable record in the state system, the day he picked up his vehicle from our yard. Then Carlos Eduardo Martins picks up the same vehicle 9 months later, 7 hours ago, and I'm already wondering if he'll show up in the system by next week, or if he's already gone. And Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos, the name on the registration of the Sandero currently sitting in Bay 7, I searched her. Active driver's license. Active voter registration. Active employment record at a logistics company in Barueri. She exists. Right now. Today. For now. I need to describe the corridor. The stretch between KM 38 and KM 48 on the Rodoanel western segment is unremarkable. 10 kilometers of divided highway running through light industrial and semi-rural terrain south of Osasco. Sound walls on both sides for much of it. No major interchanges. No unusual geography. The road surface is standard asphalt, maintained on the regular DER schedule. Traffic volume is moderate, it's not one of the congested segments. There is nothing about that road that should concentrate anything. But in 14 years of operation, I have personally recovered over 200 vehicles from that 10-kilometer stretch. My company's combined recovery count from that segment is over 600. That's not unusual for a major orbital highway. What's unusual is that at least 9 of those vehicles, and possibly more that I haven't identified yet, have cycled through the system multiple times. Appearing, being claimed, disappearing with their owners, and reappearing under new names. As if the road returns them. As if the road keeps them. As if the people who drive them become part of the registration and then dissolve, and the vehicle resurfaces for someone new. In October, I did something I shouldn't have. Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos, the current registered owner of the Sandero in Bay 7. The one who exists. I looked up her employer, the logistics company in Barueri. I drove there on my day off. I told myself I just needed to see her. To confirm she was real. That she was still walking around, going to work, living a normal life. I parked across the street from the office building and waited. At 12:15, employees started coming out for lunch. I recognized her immediately. Not because I'd seen her before, I'd never seen a photograph. But because she was walking directly toward a dark blue Renault Sandero parked in the company lot. Same plates. The car that was in my impound yard. That was still in my impound yard. I checked it that morning before driving out here. Bay 7. Blue Sandero. Parked. Present. And here was the same car, 60 kilometers away, being unlocked by a woman who was about to drive it to lunch. She opened the door. Got in. Adjusted her mirror, the cardboard tree swaying. She pulled out of the lot and turned right. I didn't follow her. I sat there for 20 minutes. Then I drove back to the yard. Bay 7. Blue Sandero. Still there. Hasn't moved. I checked the VIN on the one in my yard against the registration database. Valid. Assigned to Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos. The car she was driving also bore her plates. 2 physical instances of the same vehicle, existing simultaneously, both apparently legitimate. This wasn't cloning. Cloning uses different physical vehicles. This was duplication. The same object, in 2 places. Or, and this is the thought I couldn't escape, the one in my yard wasn't a copy of hers. It was the next version of hers. The one that would be on the highway, abandoned, after she was no longer in the system to claim it. In November, I checked on Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos again. Active license. Active employment. Active address. In January, I checked again. Active. In March, 6 months after I recovered her car from KM 46.1, I checked again. Her driver's license had not been renewed. It had expired in February. No renewal on file. Her voter registration showed no participation in the October municipal election. Her employment record at the logistics company showed a termination date of December 18. Reason, abandonment of position. I checked every 2 weeks after that. By April, her address was listed as inactive. Utility accounts closed. No forwarding. Vanessa Aparecida dos Santos was disappearing from the system. Not abruptly, gradually. The way a person disappears when they simply stop engaging with any institution that would record them. The way someone disappears when they're not dead, because there's no death certificate, but not alive in any way the state can measure. The Sandero stayed in Bay 7. Nobody claimed it. The 30-day judicial abandonment clock ticked. After 60 days, it should have gone to auction. I filed the paperwork. The auction house rejected it. They said the vehicle had an active registration and could not be processed as abandoned while the owner's status was unresolved. The owner's status was unresolved because the owner no longer verifiably existed. But the registration was active. The system considered the car owned. It sat there. It sits there now. In May, Enrique asked me about it. That blue Sandero's been in Bay 7 for 8 months. What's the holdup? I told him the auction house had rejected it on a technicality. So refile. I've refiled 3 times. Same answer. Then call the owner. There is no current phone number on file. Send a registered letter. I sent one. It came back. Address inactive. Enrique looked at me. So it's an abandoned vehicle with no claimant and no resolution. Yes. That happens. It'll process eventually. Forget about it. I tried. June. Another ticket. KM 41.8. Abandoned vehicle. No driver. Red Fiat Uno. Plates that I recognized immediately. It was one of my 9. First recovered in 2021 by Davi. Registered at that time to a woman named Aparecida Souza Lima. Released. Owner vanished from state records within the year. Recovered again now. Registered to Gabriel Enrique Nascimento. I towed it. Filed the ticket. Parked it in Bay 12. The next morning I searched Gabriel Enrique Nascimento. Active license. Active address. Active employment at a construction firm in Kosha. He exists. For now. I'm going to describe what happened next carefully, because it's the part I've had the most difficulty processing. In July, I recovered a vehicle from KM 44.0. Dark gray Volkswagen Voyage. Abandoned, no driver, highway patrol flagged. Routine. I ran the plates. Registered owner, Alejandro Medina. My name. My address. My CPF number. I don't own a dark gray Volkswagen Voyage. I've never owned one. I drive a 2020 Toyota Hilux for personal use and operate company equipment for work. But the registration in the state system, the same system I access every day for vehicle lookups, showed this car as registered to me. Purchase date, March 2024. Transfer from previous owner, Rodrigo Augusto Ferreira. I searched Rodrigo Augusto Ferreira. Last verifiable record, April 2024. 1 month after the supposed transfer to me. I towed the car to the yard. I didn't log it through SIOR. I used the manual entry system and assigned it to a holding bay without a standard ticket number. Then I went into the cabin. The registration document in the glove box had my name. My signature, not my actual signature, but close enough that someone glancing at it wouldn't question it. The insurance card listed my home address. There was a parking pass for a shopping center in Osasco that I've never visited. On the back seat, there was a jacket. Men's, dark blue, size M. I wear size M. It wasn't my jacket. I've never seen it before. But it was the right size. In the center console, a phone charger, a pack of gum, the brand I buy, and 3 parking receipts from locations I don't recognize. The car was furnished for me. Prepared. As if I'd been using it for months. I locked it and walked away. That night, I checked the state vehicle registry for my name. 2 vehicles registered to Alejandro Medina at my address. My Hilux. And a 2018 Volkswagen Voyage, dark gray, purchased March 2024. It's in the system. It's mine. According to every database that matters, I own that car. I have not driven it. I have not claimed it. It sits in a holding bay in my own impound yard, registered in my name, and I have not touched it since the night I recovered it. But I check the state system every week. And every week, my registration is active. My license is active. My employment records are active. My address is active. I'm still here. I still exist in the system. For now. I keep thinking about the sequence. Rodrigo Augusto Ferreira owned the Voyage. Then it transferred to me. Then Rodrigo disappeared from the databases. In every other case I've tracked, the current owner is the one who vanishes after the vehicle reappears on the highway. The car appeared on the highway. Registered to me. Am I the current owner? Am I the one the corridor is processing next? Or did the appearance of the car in my yard interrupt something? Did my recovering it, bringing it off the road before it completed whatever cycle the corridor runs, change the sequence? I don't know. I can't know. What I know is this. The Voyage is in my yard. I can see it from my office window. It's there right now. And I also know, because I drove past the shopping center in Osasco last week, the one on the parking pass, that there is a dark gray Volkswagen Voyage in that parking lot. Same plates. Same plates as the one in my yard. It was parked in space C-47, ground level, near the east elevator. I didn't get out. I didn't approach it. I drove past and kept going. But it was there. The duplicate already exists. The version of my car that will be on the highway after I'm gone, it's already circulating. It's already parked in lots I've never visited, accumulating receipts, building a presence. Furnishing itself with my preferences. Waiting for whoever comes after me. I've told Enrique. I showed him the registration discrepancy, the recovery logs, the pattern across 9, now 10, vehicles. I showed him the photographs, the matching damage, the owner disappearances. He listened. He looked at the evidence. He was quiet for a long time. Then he said, "What do you want me to do with this, Alejandro?" And I didn't have an answer. Because there is no report to file. No crime to charge. No person to arrest. The vehicles are legitimately registered. The plates are genuine. The people who disappear don't leave behind complaints or missing persons reports, because they dissolve from the systems that would generate those reports. You can't be reported missing if no one in any database remembers you were there. Last week, I got a call from an unfamiliar number. A woman's voice. "Is this Medina Guincho?" "Yes." "I'm calling about my car." "A blue Sandero?" "I was told it was in your facility." I didn't say anything for a moment. "Who am I speaking with?" I asked. "Tatiana. Tatiana Oliveira de Cruz." A new name. Not Vanessa. Not Marcos Rogerio. A new owner for the same car. And you'd like to collect the vehicle? Yes. I have my documents. When can I come? I gave her the business hours. I told her the standard release process. I hung up. Tatiana Oliveira de Cruz. I searched her immediately. Active license, issued 3 months ago. Active address in Carapicuiba. No records prior to February 2025. She appeared in the system 3 months ago. And now she's coming to collect a car that's been in my yard for 11 months. A car whose previous owner dissolved from every database like a salt crystal in water. She's coming tomorrow. I'll process the release. She'll show valid documents, I know she will. She'll pay the fees. She'll drive the blue Sandero out of my yard and back onto the road. And then what? 6 months. A year. 3 years. The car will be on the shoulder of the Rodoanel between km 38 and 48. Abandoned. No driver. Hazards on, or off. Engine dead. And when someone searches Tatiana Oliveira de Cruz, they'll find, license expired. Address inactive. Employment terminated. A person who stopped touching every system that would confirm she was alive. And the Sandero will be registered to someone else. I've started watching my own presence in the databases. Weekly checks. Am I still active? Does my license still renew? Does my address still show occupied? So far, yes. The Voyage is still in my yard. The duplicate is still in the parking lot in Osasco. 2 instances. Waiting. I keep working. I keep answering tickets. I keep driving the corridor between km 38 and 48, every shift, because that's my operational zone and the system assigns me calls there. I cannot avoid the road that is doing this. My job is to go to that road, find these vehicles, and bring them back. Over and over. That's what I do. That's what Medina Guincho is contracted to do. And I keep thinking, am I a recovery operator? Or am I part of the mechanism? The person who collects the vehicles at the end of one cycle and holds them until the beginning of the next. The attendant who processes the turnover between one name and the next. Because I've been doing this for 14 years. In that corridor. Recovering cars that come back. Releasing them to people who disappear. And the road has now put my name on one of them. Tomorrow Tatiana comes for the Sandero. I'll hand her the keys. She'll smile. She'll drive away. And I'll walk back into the yard, past Bay 7, empty now, past the holding bay where the gray Voyage sits under its layer of dust, registered in my name, waiting for the day someone else tows it off km 44 and wonders why the owner can't be found. The SIOR system shows no anomalies. Every ticket is closed. Every vehicle accounted for. Every recovery logged with timestamps and GPS coordinates and operator signatures. The system is clean. The data is perfect. The corridor between kilometer 38 and kilometer 48 continues to produce mechanical breakdowns at a statistically normal rate for a highway of that volume. And the people continue to go. One name at a time. Into the registration. Out of everything else.